Hey, what's up, guys? Chris here, and today we are going to talk about the Week 1 game between the Buccaneers at the Falcons. So, let's go ahead. Let's get into this game real quick. And the Falcons open up this game. They have to punt. Don't really do much moving the ball. Tampa Bay comes out, though, moving it fairly well. They end up settling for the 43-yard Roberto Aguayo 43-yard field goal. I probably botched the hell out of that name. I'm the worst with names, guys. Don't take it personal. You could tell me a name, and I'll forget it in the next minute, if I have to look at it back on paper. But the Falcons respond with a field goal of their own. Matt Ryan had a deep pass to Sanu for 59 yards. They weren't really able to do much on their next set of downs after that, and they settled for the 34-yard Bryant field goal. So after that, each team trades 3 and outs. Tampa throws an interception. Winston with a delay of game. And then he followed that up. That was on a 2nd and 12. Turned into a 2nd and 15. And he had a deep pass intended for Vincent Jackson. It was intercepted. And Alanta would capitalize on this majorly. They're on Tampa's 13-yard line. Worst case scenario, they settle for, or they don't do anything, and end up settling for a field goal maybe. But no, Ryan ends up finding Sanu on a 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. Extra point was good. And Alanta takes the early lead 10-3. Tampa would come out, though, here in the second quarter. Winston would find Doug Martin for 14 yards. He'd hit Doug Martin again for another 7. Martin would run it for 7 after that. Back to back to back. He was getting looked at a ton. Winston, short pass to Humphreys, and then he would take it for 26 yards. And it was capped off by Winston finding Myers for 4 yards in the end zone. Touchdown. And now it's a tied ball game, 10-10. So each team, yet again, trades Atlanta goes 6 plays, 31 yards to have to punt. The Buccaneers go 3 and out. Atlanta would find their way on the scoreboard yet again. This time, Matt Ryan with the short pass to Coleman, who, and this was on Atlanta's 43. He would take it all the way down to Tampa's 10-yard line for 47 yards. Absolutely crazy. But yet again, Tampa's defense coming up big, not allowing Atlanta to really capitalize off of this, but they have to settle for the 34-yard Bryant field goal, putting them up 13-10. Well, right before halftime, a minute and 41 to go in the game, Tampa comes out swinging. Winston finds Brate for 6 yards. He would find Brate yet again for 17. And again after that for 7. It was the same sort of deal with the Doug Martin. Later in the drive, Winston finds Vincent Jackson for 11. And then he had another short pass to Jackson, who would take it all the way down to Atlanta's 23-yard line. And then Jameis Winston would find Charles Sims for 23 yards right before halftime. They go up 17-13. Extra point was good. So, and Tampa would get the ball to start off the second half also. They'd march down the field, 4 plays, 75 yards. Throughout the drive, Winston found Evans for 15. He found Evans again right after for 27 yards. And then it was capped off by Winston finding Jenkins for 30 yards. Extra point was good. Tampa goes up 24-13. So now it's Atlanta's chance to try and respond, to try and tie up this game, get back in it. They get stuff's not the word I'm looking for. They get stopped. 7 plays, 29 yards. Tampa comes out again with a 92-yard drive. Absolutely crazy. It was really past Jameis Winston to Mike Evans for 45 yards all the way down to the end zone, which capped off this drive. Atlanta finally responds with a touchdown of their own. They go 9 plays for 71 yards. Ryan found Hooper for 14 yards. He'd had a short pass to Freeman. Not really running the ball a whole lot, Atlanta, throughout this game. They were a bit unbalanced. Ryan, again, to Tammy for 10 yards. Ryan ended up scrambling for 8 yards later in this drive. And then down on Tampa Bay's 25-yard line, Ryan found Julio Jones for 25 yards. And then they attempt the 2-point conversion. Ryan finds Sanu, and it's complete. So, just like that, it's a 10-point game, 31-21. And each team would end up punting. A little bit later in the fourth quarter, midway through the fourth quarter, about 9 to go, Atlanta goes down and gets a field goal. They weren't able to punch it in. And late in the game, a little bit later, with about 9 minutes to go in the game, Atlanta takes almost 5 minutes off the clock. And they end up having to settle for a field goal. They weren't able to punch it in. Tampa's defense coming up big, stopping Atlanta. And that would be the last score of the game, the final being 31-24. So Atlanta had a chance to put it away. They weren't really able to capitalize. Like I said earlier, a bit unbalanced. Matt Ryan, 27 for 39, 334 yards, 2 touchdowns, got sacked 3 times. Had a really good game. But here, listen to the rushing stats, though. Tevin Coleman, 8 for 22. Devontae Freeman, 11 for 20. I mean, the team combined for 22 carries for 52 yards rushing. Just completely lopsided in terms of what they were going to do offensively. Jameis Winston, 23 for 32, 281 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was looking pretty sharp throughout this game. Early on, it took him a bit to get comfortable and get settled in. For the rushing, Doug Martin, 18 for 62. As we go to the receiving, for Tampa Bay, Mike Evans, 5 for 99 with 1 touchdown. Adam Humphries, 3 for 34. Doug Martin, 5 for 34. And then Charles Sims, 3 for 32, 1 touchdown. And then Austin Sefrin Jenkins, 1 for 30 with a touchdown. Brandon Myers, also 1 for 4 with a touchdown. As for Atlanta, Tevin Coleman, 5 for 95. That's where he saw the bulk of his production throughout the game. His longest was 47 yards. Mohamed Sanu, 5 for 80 with a touchdown. Julio Jones, 4 for 66 with a touchdown. Overall, Atlanta was doing a really good job at distributing the football throughout this game. Just going back through that, Coleman got targeted for 6, Sanu targeted for 8, Julio Jones for 8, Tammy for 8. Matt Ryan was really doing a good job of distributing the football throughout the game. They would probably have liked to see Julio Jones get a little more involved. He was targeted 8 times, only had 4 receptions. Could have capitalized. Could have made some of those catches. I'll say that. As for the defense, Kewan Alexander with 15 solo tackles for Tampa Bay. He lit it up this game. He also had 2 QB hits. Chris Conte with 7 solo tackles. Levante David with 6. Bradley McDougald and Gerald McCoy recorded pass defenses 1 and 2, respectively. And McCoy also had a QB hit. Robert Ayers with a QB hit and a pass defense, or no pass defense, might be. 2 solo tackles, though. 1 sack. The team overall combined for 3 sacks, 4 QB hits. They were really starting to put some pressure on Alanta, more so for the second half of that game. As for Atlanta, Ricardo Allen, Deion Jones, and Desmond Trufant with 5 solo tackles each. Devondre Campbell with 4 solo tackles. Robert Alford with 2 pass defenses. Deion Jones with a QB hit. I'm a little scattered throughout here. The team had, overall, this defense had no sacks, which was a little, it caught my eye, throughout this game, looking back at this one. So, Tampa Bay able to hang on, getting the job done, 31-24. So, I'm going to get going, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed your Buccaneers at Falcons Game 1 analysis recap review, and I will be back to talk to you guys on the next video. Until then, you guys have a good one.